Hey guys, so we're back with our functional restoration series. The first video we went over breathing, the second video we went over like thoracic spine, shoulder, and hips a little bit. Today we're going to keep that going with the hip, but kind of more as it relates to the squat. So we're going to do part one is going to be hip, part two is going to be the squat. So we got Sam here. We're going to use squatting for our demo. Let's get into a good squat setup. Okay. So first and foremost, let's pay particular attention to where her feet are. Just do it on your own. Don't worry about it. Okay, and let's go into a nice squat for me. Okay, and so we're really going to pay attention to where's her foot, where's her knee, how does that affect her trunk position, does she have adequate range of motion control, etc. Okay, then come on back up. Just me, or is that one out a little bit extra? So just little things to note like that. What if we take that into an overhead squat and do it with this guy? Does that change anything that she does with that?
Hey, don't move. Don't move. You're flying right where you are. Take it back.
That's pretty good. Now she's trying so hard. She's trying so hard.
Fighting.
And then if you come on back up. Yeah, it's pretty good. But still wants to be pretty externally rotated on this side. So we also watching the foot and what it does. Everything just seems to be a little bit more solid on that left side. So she's kind of struggling over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to investigate that hip and see what we find, and then we're going to get into a couple little treatment options. Okay. So if we just kind of, just for fun, take a look at her hip, kind of hold things, relax for me. Okay, pretty good, a little tight that way. Things look pretty good here. And if we go over here, pretty good into external, or internal rather, and we start locking up right here. So we got a little something hip going on. Pretty easy, yeah. She kind of knew that though, right? Okay. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to work on this just a little bit. One thing that we tried, why don't you, let's do this. We'll loosen the hip up and then we'll try something. Let's try it first. Why don't you actually bring this out? Remember how we brought it out?
Yeah.
Okay. And all I want you to do is take that knee and press it into the ground. How does that feel?
Oh, okay.
Feels okay? Okay. And if we try to push the foot into the ground?
That is very difficult for me.
Very difficult. Okay. Bring it back down. Any pain with that?
I can't even, no pain,
Okay.
I just, inability.
Inability. If we do the same thing on this side, which is our better moving side, pressing the knee, and if we do this,
I can do
we can
that.
actually get a contraction there.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a difference, and this is the one side that's not moving. So come on up here, let's try something, and we can do this with some biased rotation. So we need to loosen up the hip a little bit. You guys have seen these bands before, and if you haven't, then they're great. Sam, what I'm essentially going to have you do is we're going to get in here and get you into this kind of a position, and we're going to work on that hip a little bit, okay? So now, when you do that, if we kind of tuck your butt a little bit, where do you feel that?
Actually, I'm feeling it in through my quads.
In through the quads, too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're essentially getting that hip joint to try to glide forward a little bit. As we do that, as we're also stretching out and opening up the front of the hip. So we can do that. This is in a nice straight position. Well, sometimes we were kind of locked into it. Our external rotation was a little limited. So what if we bring this foot inward, kind of spin this out a little bit? How's that?
The hip flexor.
Something's grabbing,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so we're hitting something that's kind of tight with that. So now what if I get you to literally, so we take it, we kind of bias it into external rotation a little bit, and then what if we just kind of come forward and start just finding little spots in there and see what happens. So we'll bring that foot like that way. There you go. Is that good or bad? Tolerable? Okay. Okay. So that's kind of a nice way to loosen things up. What if we teach it how to do it now? So let's come out of there. Let's see if that changed anything from our mobility standpoint.
Alright, so what I'm going to do is we're going to have
A little bit better. So we already got a little bit more there. What if we now take this out here, press that knee in. How's that? Same but or worse?
About the same, a little better.
Do you have any ability to push that in?
Hardly.
Hardly, yeah. So that'd be something that you could potentially work on to see if she can get a little contract, relax in the front, just activate certain muscles.
I can kind of do it, but I feel like I'm on a cramp.
But you want to cramp, yeah. Okay. So from a PT perspective, what we could also do is get in here, and Sam, I'm going to kind of push right along here, okay?
Fine.
So we can get in here and kind of glide that hip, even ask her to push out a little bit. Push out, out, relax. Right there, and then push again. Yeah, I like that. You can relax.
Oh, well,
There.
I'm feeling that in my hip flexor.
And your hip flexor big time,
Here.
right up there too. So maybe hip flexor, maybe just some tight fascia, maybe, I don't know, there's a few muscles up there. And push out one more time. Good. Okay, and then bring it back out, same place. And try that again. So if you push here,
That is definitely easier.
okay, how about here?
A little bit.
A little bit. You're actually getting enough of a contraction that you're actually lifting here, which is good. So just doing a couple of simple things improved that. Now come on back up. Let's see if we can get you same thing. Let's check our setup. And go ahead.
Doesn't look too light.
Good. How's that feel?
Feels pretty good.
Okay, and back up. Okay, one more time. Not bad. Okay. That knee's really tracking outward. Okay, good. All right, so sometimes when everybody always says, like, knees out, like, okay, great, but like, what if your hip isn't letting your knee go out, or what if your ankle isn't letting your knee go out? So that was the hip. We'll come back for part 2 and we'll look at the ankle in a second.